What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, pretty much everything going on here in our country, daily news, everything you need to know about money, investing, the stock market. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. And subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new updates. Okay, several updates for you guys here today. The California state stimulus checks, those are the $600 stimulus checks going out to California residents making up to $75,000. Round two of that is going out right now. Round two is going out to California residents making between $30,000 and $75,000. Round one went out to California residents making under $30,000. This new article, why you may not have received a payment yet or won't at all. Check this out. These payments to Californians are going out to about 27 million people in California. That's a lot. There's more states that are hopefully going to be doing this. I'll get to another state here in a second that's doing stimulus checks as well, and more have done it in the past. Hopefully we'll see more of these in the future as well. As you can see here, it's been nearly 2 months since California began issuing the Golden State Stimulus number 2 payments of up to $1,100 for eligible residents. You can't get both rounds. Remember, first round went for people making up to $30,000. Round two is for people making $30,000 to $75,000. You don't get round one and round two. You can get round one or round two. You can get up to $1,100 if you have children. It's the $600 plus the additional $500 for children. You can get the $500 for children if you didn't get it for round one, because they didn't have the $500 for children in round one. So I have seen comments from people that said that round two sent them the stimulus payment for children, even though they got their payment in round one. Okay, the additional $500 for children. While millions have already received the money, many Californians still have not been issued a payment. There's several reasons why. Number one, the state is still continuing to roll out these checks in the coming months. They're sending them out. It seems like about 1 million or 2 checks per week. So keep that in mind. Number one, they're still sending out the checks. It's kind of a slow process because they're going through all these fraud checks and stuff. So keep that in mind. Couple other reasons why you may have not gotten one. Number two, you may not qualify, okay? There's eligibility requirements. You must have been a California resident for most of the year and still live in the state. You must have filed a 2020 tax return by October 15th, 2021. So if you didn't file a tax return, then you may not qualify. I did see some comments from some people from previous videos that said if you file SSI, that the state knows your income, or if you're an SSI recipient, that I've seen some comments from some people that said they got this California stimulus check. But I'm not 100% sure on that because I don't live in California and get SSI. But I did see some people from California that said they got the California state stimulus check if they're on SSI. But just keep that in mind that if you don't file a California state tax return, they don't know your income, and it's for people making under $75,000. So keep that in mind. That is one of the main requirements, is that you file a California state tax return so that they know your income, because it's for people that make under $75,000. So yeah, as you can see here, you have to earn less than $75,000 adjusted gross income and wages last year, have a social security number or an individual taxpayer identification number, and you can't be claimed by another taxpayer as a dependent. The state of Maine has recently announced that they're also issuing a $300 stimulus check as well. They're kind of calling it a hazard pay check, which is interesting. That it's interesting that they all kind of use different languages. The stimulus check is kind of a more universal term that everybody understands a little bit more. Hazard pay is kind of a term that people think that kind of goes more for occupations that you get it if you're kind of worked through a pandemic or something like that. So it's a little bit more of a misconstrued term, but nonetheless, residents from Maine, same kind of qualifications. If you earn less than $75,000, will soon get a $300 hazard pay check, stimulus check. Again, whatever term you want to call it, it's the same type of thing here. It's part of an $8.5 billion state budget agreement that's voted on in June, but will start going out in November 1st, which is in about a week. So in November 1st, residents of Maine will start to see $300 stimulus checks go out in the mail. So I'll keep you up to date on that. It's nice to see more states start to do this. And we've seen other states, cities, and counties do this in the past. And hopefully, we will see more and more states, cities, and counties do this in the future. We had a recent report that said something along the lines of 90% of the money, depending on the state, the city, or the county, have not spent their portions of the third stimulus check money that went to states, cities, and counties yet. So there's still a whole pile, a whole lot of stimulus money from the third stimulus check package, again, that went to states, cities, and counties. So there's a lot of money available, billions and billions and billions of dollars that they can use for this type of thing. So again, feel free to contact your mayor, your governor, or your county representatives and say, hey guys, what are you doing with the money? Because chances are they just haven't used it yet. In some cases, they have to vote on it. In some cases, probably in most cases, they just haven't used it yet. It's just sitting there. In most cases, they have several years to use it. So from the recent reports I've seen, the vast majority of it has just not been used. So chances are that they're going to be, and again, each state, city, or county is completely different. All states, cities, and counties all got money, billions of dollars. Of course, the size of your state, city, and county all varies, but all states got over $1 billion. So, yeah, there's a lot of money there. So, going forward, I'll keep you up to date as I see information like this come out, and we hope that more of these programs go out. There's been rent assistance go out in the past, mortgage assistance, stimulus checks, and lots of these programs. So hopefully there'll be more of this in the future, and I'll keep you up to date here on this channel as I see more of this. Some of these programs you got to apply for. We've had the Internet Assistance Program where you can get $50 off your internet bill, which you can get at this website. Real quick, I'll just mention it. It's getemergencybroadband.org. If you're new to the channel or you maybe didn't see when I've mentioned this before, this is literally a federal website from the third stimulus check program. You can literally get $50 off your internet bill per month, your home internet bill or your cell phone bill, $75 off your bill if you're on a tribal land, or a one-time discount off a $100 laptop, tablet, desktop computer if you're going to buy one, and you apply right here on this website. This is from the third stimulus check package. This is money, federal money from the third stimulus check package. You apply right here on this website. You get it every single month until the program runs out of money. And this is from the third stimulus check package. There may even be more programs like this in this next stimulus package. We'll have to wait and see once they pass the package. Speaking of the next stimulus package, here is White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki to give us an update on a whole bunch of stuff and how things are going with the package. So here she is.
I apologize. Today, the Vice President visited the Northeast Bronx YMCA in New York with HHS Secretary Javier Becerra, Governor Kathy Hochul, and Congressman Jamal Bowman. The Vice President will hear about the YMCA facilities' impact on the community and deliver remarks about how the bipartisan infrastructure deal and the Build Back Better agenda will benefit working families. She'll also highlight the importance of extending the child tax credit, which is one of the largest ever single tax cuts for families with children. Okay, Zeke, go ahead.
Thanks. What's the status of the negotiations over the president's social spending bill? House Speaker Nancy Pelosi suggested a deal could be done today. Does the president expect that? And who's he speaking with right now?
Well, he will continue to have calls throughout the course of the day and the weekend, as he has over the last several days. We will provide you details on those as we can. We have a goal, as Speaker Pelosi conveyed. We have milestones, and we're working on finalizing an agreement. That's the status. Our focus is on making significant progress on that. We've seen that happen over the last several days. We're encouraged by the shared commitment to get this done and deliver for the American people. But I don't have any new deadlines or timelines from here, nor have we set them from here over the last several days or weeks.
As that package that the president proposed initially at roughly $3.5 trillion, I think now looks to be being cut roughly in half. We've heard the president say he wants to come back at things later, things like community college, some of the other extending the life of some of these programs that have been shortened. Progressives have been saying that now's the moment to go big. There might not be another moment. Why does the president think, given how difficult things have been up to this point, that he'll have another bite at the apple to sort of make these programs more enduring, or to include even things that couldn't make it into this package somewhere down the line?
Well, let me say first, Zeke, that this package is on track to be to represent or to direct the most fundamental shift in supporting hardworking families over wealthy in modern American history. And the president's belief, as you heard him say last night, is that compromise is not a dirty word, and that we will get nothing if we do not have 50 votes. The alternative is not a larger package. The alternative is nothing. So his objective is to continue to press forward, to bring the parties together to get a historic package done. And I will note that there's a lot of history for this, and he talked about this a little bit last night, but there's history in putting in place a framework that puts in place positive fundamental change. Look at Social Security. Look at the Affordable Care Act. These are all historic programs that have then been built on domestically. And whatever the top line number is, which we're still obviously working through and negotiating, this is on track to change millions of middle-class families who have been falling behind. Let me give you just a couple of examples. And he talked about this last night, but where the package stands as of now. The largest investment in childcare and early education, childhood education in history, with the first national universal preschool program ever in history. The largest investment in climate and clean energy in history, around 6 times the size of the climate and clean energy investment in the Recovery Act, the second largest climate bill in history. The first national paid family and medical leave program ever, the largest expansion in health care coverage since the Affordable Care Act, leading 7 million people to gain new coverage, perpetuating the largest one-year drop in child poverty in history by extending the child tax credit, and a new investment in housing that is greater than the entire current annual budget of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. That is what we were talking about here, even as we were talking about a package that's being negotiated that is smaller than what he originally proposed.
But why does he think that a future Congress or sometime later in the administration he'll have more luck going beyond where he's at right now and getting more spending for some of those programs at the levels that he initially wanted to have to carry out?
Well, 2 reasons, Zeke. One is what I referenced related to the Social Security program in history, or the Affordable Care Act, where these are programs that put in place the fundamental mechanisms in society to deliver on change and relief to people for decades to come. And what we're talking about here is instituting some programs that have never existed before. Universal pre-K. We're talking about paid family and medical leave. We're building on, as an example, the Affordable Care Act by continuing to expand health care coverage, which is another example of building. So the president's belief is these changes are long overdue. These changes are changes the American people have been asking for, have been demanding, want to see government act on to make their lives better, and that these packages will be the basis for building on in the future, during his administration as well.
Go ahead. Thanks, Jen. The president was pretty clear last night that Senator Sinema does not support raising taxes on big corporations or the corporate tax hike. The White House says that you guys are looking for other ways to pay for this package. What exactly are those proposals? And can this package be paid for without a corporate tax increase?
Yes, absolutely, but there are different corporate tax increases in here, so let me go through what a couple of the tax pieces are that are under consideration. I would note that as it relates to the president's comments last night, he was answering a question. These town halls are conversations. That's what's so endearing and engaging about them, but he was referring to the challenge of having the votes to move forward on raising the corporate rate, not the ability to raise revenue through a range of other tax fairness proposals. So let me give you a sense of a couple of those. So some of the biggest corporations in America pay literally nothing in income taxes, as we know, as we've talked about in the past, a lot in here. 55 of the biggest companies, they pay lower rates than wage-earning families. We can stop that by imposing a 15% minimum tax, a minimum corporate tax. to make sure large corporations pay their fair share.
So really quickly, I want to interject here. So there's two different things here that they're proposing to raise the corporate tax rate, and they're very, very different. Number one is, remember that former President Donald Trump lowered the corporate tax rate, the main corporate tax rate, from 35% down to 21%. Okay, that's the main corporate tax rate that they talk about. They want, there's a main proposal to raise it back up from 21% to 26% or 25%, 25 or 26.5%. Kirsten Sinema's against it. Joe Manchin has said he'd be okay with that. The other proposal that she's talking about there is to do a minimum tax rate, which is not implemented right now, of 15%. This is different than the 25 or 26%. And you might be saying, well, Jimmy, it's already at 21%. What would 15% do? This is very different because when we talk about companies like Amazon as just an example, they're a very famous example because of this. And here's this headline here to show it to you. Amazon paid no federal taxes on $11.2 billion in profits. This is an article back from 2019, so this was in 2018. So they paid no federal taxes on $11.2 billion in profits last year. And from 2009 to 2018, Amazon paid an effective federal tax rate of only 3% on profits totaling $26.5 billion. Okay, that's why Amazon is such a famous example, because this is, and it's legal. It's completely legal. They just have so many write-offs, billions and billions of dollars of write-offs. They invested into new buildings. They have all this kind of accounting trickery that is legal, because again, they get, when you make billions and billions of dollars, you get audited every year. So it's not that they're doing anything illegal. They just do everything that they can. They have foreign tax credits. They have tax write-offs, and just the way the tax code is, they're just able to get away with this. And when you make $11.2 billion in just 1 year and you pay no federal taxes, something is just wrong with the tax code, okay? Now, what former President Donald Trump did exacerbated this, because if the corporate tax rate was 35% and lowered it to 21%, that just kind of made it easier, because instead of them paying 35% taxes, now they're paying 21. That helped them get to 0% easier, okay? Because if they were paying 35%, there would have been an extra 14% there. And you've seen that their effective federal tax rate for 10 years, there was 3%. Well, if they were paying that extra 14% instead of 3%, it may have been, what was that, 3% plus 14, it may have been 17%. That would have been something significant, a lot more than 3%, right? And we're just ballparking numbers here, right? The problem is that, and in fact, some years, a lot of these corporations actually paid less than 0%. That's right, they can actually get refunds of hundreds of billions of dollars or billions of dollars. So there's a lot of things wrong with the federal tax rate, and one of the proposals is to have a minimum tax rate of 15% if you make a certain threshold. So if you make, say, $1 billion, the tax code can kick in, or maybe, I don't know how much it's going to be, if they can get it passed. And again, if Kirsten Sinema, if they can agree to this or something like that, if it's $1 million, $100 million, $1 billion, then they can kick in and say, nope, you made $1 billion in profits. This is not even just sales, it's profits. You have to pay at least 15% minimum federal taxes. No matter how much write-offs or anything you have to pay your fair share of taxes. So that's what she's talking about there. That's another proposal that they could kick in there, and that might be a compromise to make corporations at least pay something. Because if you're making billions and billions of dollars and paying nothing in federal taxes, I think at least almost everybody could agree. At least that's literally just crazy.
We also believe, the president believes, a number of other members of Congress believe, that we need to stop rewarding companies that offshore profits and American jobs. We'll do that by creating a global minimum tax, something the United States has been the global leader in, bringing together countries around the world. And that will help to make the United States more competitive and end the race to the bottom. We can also close loopholes for high-income Americans, including a loophole that allows some taxpayers, like hedge fund managers, to escape a Medicare tax imposed on all high-end income on all high income. That's another proposal that's out there still. And we can crack down on wealthy tax cheats who are taking advantage of every honest taxpayer and invest in enforcement to stop 1% from evading $160 billion in taxes per year, something that Treasury secretaries, Republican and Democrats, have expressed support for and feel this is a strong part of the proposal. So I list all of those because those are all ideas out there, all ideas that would move us forward toward a greater system of tax fairness and also can help pay for the full package.
One more follow-up on the child tax credit. Speaker Pelosi told me yesterday that the president was looking at a one-year extension. According to the Census Bureau, 47% of families use that money to buy food. Will those children be left behind if there's only a one-year extension on the child tax credit?
Well, to be clear, the president proposed a longer extension. What the president is, though, looking to do is to extend the child tax credit, something that he proposed himself earlier this year, and again proposed extending it because he thinks it does have such an important and dramatic impact on people across the country. Many economists have credited it with cutting the childhood poverty rate in half. He absolutely thinks it should be a part of what American families can benefit from. But it's smaller because compromise is not a dirty word, and it is something that we still believe is a positive step forward to extend. Go ahead.
What drove the shift in the president's posture this week in terms of he laid out a lot of details to rank-and-file members on Tuesday. He laid out a lot of details to the entire world last night, something you guys haven't been wanting to talk about over the course of the last several months. Why now? Why has he moved in this direction?
The charm of Anderson Cooper, I guess. I'm just kidding. Look, I think, Phil, that we are at this point in the conversation and in the debate where we are getting into the nitty-gritty details, and the president is deeply engaged in those discussions. I think what you saw last night, what the American people saw last night, is that the president has rolled up his sleeves and he is deep in the details of spreadsheets and numbers and what the potential impact can be to help the American people. And he was candid, and he was candid about where the negotiations stood, and also wanted the American people to understand, as I just outlined earlier, that progress here is a historic package that will put in place systems and programs that have never existed in our society before. So I think what you're seeing is that we're getting closer. We're into the nitty-gritty details. There is agreement about some fundamental investments in our society, and he loves having conversations with the American people about what he's fighting for.
Two more just to follow up on last night. Can you clarify where discussions are, if they exist at all, in terms of the National Guard and the supply chain?
Oh, can I clarify where things stand?
My understanding is it had been talked about, but it wasn't something you guys were moving toward. The president seemed to say differently last night.
Sure. Well, any president has the ability to use the National Guard from the federal level. Requesting the use of the National Guard at the state level, which is often how it's done, is under the purview of governors. And we're not actively asking them to do that, and we're not actively pursuing the use of the National Guard on a federal level. But it is something that any president would have the capacity to do, the authority to do, but it is not something under active consideration.
Whew, okay, so yeah, there's a lot going on here. She noticed that the Census Bureau says 47% of parents use the child tax credits to pay for food. So yeah, nearly 50% of parents literally use the monthly checks to pay for food. And yet Joe Manchin wants to literally take those away from tens of millions of people, potentially with the income requirements. Isn't it sad? In fact, Joe Manchin literally wants to just take almost everything out of this package. Can't think of a single thing he's for, except for things like coal mining and whatever is in his interest, pharmaceuticals companies. And I mean, what is Joe Manchin for in this package besides zero? What he said to Bernie Sanders. Yeah, and that relates to this story. That Joe Manchin's child tax credit changes could prevent more than 37 million children from getting aid. And that's just with the one change of putting an income cap of $60,000 on the child tax credit. And that's for two people. That's for a married couple. So that means that a married couple would each have to make below $30,000 each, or $29,900 each, to get the child tax credit. This is just Joe Manchin's proposal. This is not what they're going forward with right now. But the problem is if Joe Manchin uh, sticks to this, they wouldn't be able to get his vote. So this is not something that is set in stone right now. But if Joe Manchin draws a hard line on something like this, they wouldn't be able to get his vote. And without his vote, they can't pass it. The other requirement that he has said, again, if he draws a hard line on this, then again would prevent tens of millions of people from doing this, is the work requirement, which didn't even, the study didn't even have this, would mean millions more people that you would have to work and make income, which would also prevent millions of people from doing it. Stay-at-home moms wouldn't get them. Anybody on Social Security, grandmas and grandpas wouldn't get them who claim the children. And also, married filing jointly couples would potentially both have to work. So a mom would not be able to stay home and watch the children, and the father would work and get the child tax credit, those monthly payments. They would both have to work. So Joe Manchin literally wants to take these payments away from tens of millions of children, more than 37 million children. And you can see why there's so many millions of people that are quite unhappy with Senator Joe Manchin. Yeah, you could let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Please email, call, and tweet your senators and representatives and let them know to add a fourth stimulus check in there in addition to the checks for children called the child tax credits. That they currently want to extend those monthly checks for a year, but to add an additional check for adults in there as well. That's how they added the second stimulus check in there at the very last moment. Please let your voices be heard so that they do that again for adults in this package as well. I will keep you up to date here as they're adding things in here at the very last moment and subtracting things at the very last moment as well. Don't miss any episodes at this point. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so, so you don't miss out on any videos. After subscribing, you can click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button, and then click that to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live with new videos, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how there's a new Social Security increase and maybe even more coming out in the future, maybe $200 per month in the future as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.